Do you want to talk about the Hindenburg?
Yeah, well, I like the Hindenburg.
You do?
Yeah.
Because of the death toll, or
No.
why do you like?
I'll tell you why I like the Hindenburg. I read a book when I was 12.
Yeah.
It wasn't particularly informational. It was a fiction.
Okay.
It was a fiction called the Pendragon series.
Okay.
It was lovely. I think the reason I wanted to go traveling was the Pendragon series. They were really good books. It was about a kid who could disappear into a different realm and everything like that. And basically, one of the realms was New York in the olden days.
Okay.
And it was based around the Hindenburg disaster. And so I got really into the Hindenburg and I started researching the Hindenburg and everything like that. So Luft Zeppelin 179, I want to say.
Oh, the official name of the Hindenburg.
Number of the Hindenburg.
I don't know, bring up that Time article. The reason this is on the agenda today is just recently I found out, or I got into this. This is how I got turned onto this story. The last survivor of the Hindenburg disaster just died.
Wow.
I was like, I felt like the Hindenburg was 100 years ago, but it wasn't. It was the 1930s because it was Nazi Germany. Which I didn't put together, but then I remembered, and you're like, oh. But the footage and stuff, it's super grainy and old and black and white, and
it's incredible to see. I'm slightly devastated.
I got a link to the video if you want to bring that up as well.
Yeah.
Where you mean see the...
I'm slightly devastated that that airships are not a thing anymore.
Okay.
I understand from a safety point of view. Here we go, we're just watching the footage. So there was a big blimp coming in to New Jersey.
Just don't turn that down because I know it's a little loud for us, but I want it to be clear on the audio.
Okay.
Just there, that's perfect.
Get out of the way, please. It's bursting into flames, and
So
it's falling on
It's
the
burned into just a massive ball of flame. And what's incredible with these airships, and this is why I think it's devastating that we don't have them anymore, is they are colossal. They are humongous. I mean, look at that. They're just pure.
I don't feel you get a good idea of the scale of that thing. I've got a little diagram later which will clear it up, but just it is enormous.
It's phenomenal to see, but actually way more people survived than you would have thought.
Dude, this is what this is all about. This is what I want to talk about because this guy, he was 8 years old when he survived the crash of the Hindenburg.
Okay.
And he was just thrown out of it. Because this is how people survived.
Out you go, son.
Literally, it was his mum that threw him out. And because the Hindenburg's up and it's coming down as it's catching on fire, the hydrogen's all going first, and it's coming down and people are still alive. It's not blown up essentially. It's caught fire.
No, it's burning. Yeah.
And as that thing's coming down, people just start jumping out of it and running.
Well, I suppose because also the bit where people were sat kind of came down to the ground.
Yes.
As it burned, it kind of the back end flipped down to the ground. So they wouldn't have been that high. They would have been high, but
they would have been high. They got injured. They got severe burns. 2/3 of the people survived.
That's amazing.
When you look at that, go back to that video.
Go
back to that video.
Sorry, I closed the video. Hang on.
It's insane.
It's proper firepower. That's. I understand why after the Hindenburg disaster they stopped using airships.
Skip ahead to really where it's burning.
Burn.
It's
further. That's insane. It takes
30 seconds, I think. Is that 32 seconds? I think is the whole burn.
How do you survive that?
Well, because it was all above them.
I know, but it's incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah, it is incredible. It's like, I don't know, cooking something under a fire. It's not going to happen. Heat rises. But I understand.
Christ.
I understand why with this disaster, airships are not a thing. I get that. However, they must have just been incredible to see when you just saw an airship coming over. It would have literally blocked out the sun. It's a shame we don't see it anymore.
It's wild. And also, I was talking about this on my other podcast, actually. I would like to see, people are like, oh, planes are great because it gets you from A to B really quickly. Mm-hmm. But people also take cruises where, you can go on a long cruise and it's kind of nice and chilled out and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I think that could be airships, like airship cruises. So there's a giant airship, you got a cabin. Yeah, it takes a week to get there or whatever, but it's super nice. And you eat in this nice restaurants and all this stuff. And it's more just like taking a cruise in the sky.
Well, I think you can do those. I think that...
Dude, really?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I looked up airship leisure travel and stuff, and it's just really short tours and stuff. There's no big airship operators which are operating an air cruise line.
Well, I think after the Hindenburg disaster, they just went completely out of commission. They just sort of... it was such a public it's similar to what's the aeroplane? Concorde. It was such like a public, like that
the
like,
Air France crash. Yeah,
exactly. The Air France crash. But like the Hindenburg disaster became the face of airships, and it's a real shame. I think they're beautiful. They're
super
amazing
cool
to look at,
and you can fill them with helium. I mean,
exactly.
Helium's a bit of a rare resource, but it is.
We can just siphon it out of people's balloons.
Well, no joke. Helium is only cheap for balloons. At least
it's not that cheap. My mum used to run a balloon company. It's not that
really?
cheap. Yeah.
What?
That's a blast from the 90s, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe this is what I'm thinking. Maybe it's only cheap in America because they subsidize it because they have a giant store of it. But helium's, you don't make it. It's found like underground or something.
I think isn't the 7% helium the atmosphere or something? It's quite a rare resource. But no.
So your mum ran a balloon shop.
Yeah, back in the 90s when balloons used to be a big thing.
I thought balloons are still a big thing.
They're not.
No?
They're not. No one has a balloon anymore.
I just went to my mum's 60th birthday party last weekend.
Fantastic.
They weren't helium balloons, they're just regular balloons.
Happy birthday to your mother.
Yeah.
But no, this like balloons used to. If you think about it, weddings, everyone used to have balloons. So people used to do balloon arches, and they'll do big bride and grooms made out of balloons and things like that. You don't see that anymore.
No.
That doesn't happen anymore.
I feel that would be a bit tacky.
Yeah, exactly, tacky, and it kind of has gone with the times. Like it's no longer a thing, which is a shame. I liked it, but helium wasn't cheap. It was the one sort of resource that you really had to pay for. Yeah,
and hydrogen's a lot easier to come by. Problem with hydrogen,
it explodes.
Really super flammable. You know what's fun? You think with this, people just didn't know. And so, well, yeah, they did.
They did.
They definitely knew. The reason the engineer, the guy who designed the Hindenburg, wanted to use helium. But the US at the time had a global monopoly on helium. All of the world's helium came from the US. Wow. And essentially, they were like, no, we're not going to give you helium because you might use it for military uses, which, to be fair point.
Probably would have.
Yeah. Nazi Germany, after all. And so the guy didn't get to use helium in the Hindenburg.
God,
and
that.
So it blew up and killed all those people.
Do you know why it blew up? Was it static in the clouds or something?
Oh.
I think it was static. I think it was static electricity and it sparked.
Yes, I think a static build-up on the ship itself.
Yeah, of it
and then
running through the clouds and it kind of rubbed across the I don't know.
Gosh, I feel like we should know that. Is that known? I don't know. I don't think this article said. Anyway.
I'm just going to do a quick little look up. When I find the answer, I'll let you know.
I've also got a couple of interesting other things about the Hindenburg.
Go for it.
Are you going to look that up?
I'm looking up that.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll talk about the fact that the Hindenburg had a smoking lounge. It is the 1930s, so people were really into their smoking. And especially, I can imagine, the modern day price of tickets on this thing was like $7,000 American. So it's not really cheap. And I can just imagine, those men on there, they want to retire to the smoking lounge and have a pipe or a cigar or something like that. So they needed to work out a way to make it happen. But it just seems insane when it is there is a huge bubble of hydrogen above you. So they were smoking and all of this stuff, and they got it done by, there was a guard, so you wouldn't be able to leave the smoking area with a lit anything. There was one single electrical lighter to light your cigar or whatever, and they had a negative pressure room. So they kept the pressure, it was like an airlock to get in, and then the pressure in, it was slightly less pressurized inside, so everything would always come in. There would be no leakage of any like embers or anything out that could potentially ignite it. So yeah.
Do you know, I do think we live in an amazingly technological age.
Oh, it's all hypotheses, so they don't actually know.
Well, they said here, Hugh Hefner argued that the fire was started by an electrical spark, which was caused by a buildup of static electricity on the airship.
Oh, there you go.
The spark ignited hydrogen on the outer skin. So there you go. But that's the hypothesis. Mm-hmm. So we will never know. We will never know. But what I wanted to say is that we live in like a technological age where everything's smart and clever. But if you look back at old things that like people did in the olden days to get around a problem, some of them were genius. Like that for example, that is a genius.
Yeah, like the negative pressure room. That's pretty solid.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean,
They're probably pretty motivated.
I mean, however they created Stonehenge, however they did all these sorts of things, people came across some incredible methods of doing things because they had to, and I love that.
It's pretty good. Go back to the documents and open up that last link for this section because you wanted an idea of how big the Hindenburg was.
Yeah. Here we go.
I really wanted to see what it was like inside. Like, what was it? Was there a dining area and all this stuff?
Inside of the living area? Or?
Yeah. There's some cool pictures, but this is even better. Just scroll down.
It's a big boy.
Oh God, have we got to accept some cookies or
We
something?
have to accept something.
Oh, you're okay. You're okay. Just go all the way. Go down. Go down.
Oh my God.
Cool, right?
Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
It's pretty incredible. We're looking at pictures of the Hindenburg flying over New York City. Okay, so there it is, the Zeppelin, the Hindenburg. And zoom in on that. So yeah, there's the size of it. And you can see, we're just looking at a big cutaway of the entire Zeppelin. And then there's a blow up of the living part of the Zeppelin. So you can see all the cabins and stuff and the dining area and the smoking room and all of that stuff. And then that all of that living area makes up just a small part of the bottom of the airship. But it's pretty cool.
That's incredible. That's amazing. Like, that's colossal.
Cruising in the sky, man.
And here you can see.
Let's bring this back.
We can see next to it there is a little aeroplane which does not make up 1,000th of the size of that. What do you think?
Say 200th.
200. Sorry.
That's a five-fold difference right there. It's not. I don't think it's 1,000 times bigger than a plane.
No, well, that was a little.
Say
plane,
it's 100 times bigger, maybe. It's a little plane.
I suppose it depends. Is it big and far away, or is it?
I don't know.
Really
I don't know if
close?
they don't say it's for scale or anything, so I wouldn't assume it is. But they do advertise it as a flying hotel. I think I'd like to see that. I'd like the
to
flying
stay on
hotel
it.
to come back. Absolutely. Hindenburg, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, burned.
Absolutely.
And so I guess we have to wave goodbye to the last survivor.